Welcome back. We've been looking at solving radical equations using this four-step process, and we just tried a simple example where everything worked out nice and easy and these steps were a linear process. I now want to look at a more complicated example where I don't have one radical, but I instead have two. So in my last example, I had one radical, the square root of x plus 2, and nothing else was underneath the radical. In this particular equation, I have two radicals under which I have a variable. This makes step one, isolate, tricky. I can't isolate both radicals, so I need to isolate one radical. So I have a radical isolated, so step one is complete. So you are going to only isolate one here. Step two is raise both sides of the equation to whatever power is necessary to get rid of the radical. So that's square root of x minus 12 is equal to 2 minus the square root of x. To get rid of this radical, I'm going to need to square the left-hand side, so I'm also going to square the right-hand side. The left-hand side, this square root cancels. There's only one term, so the square root of x minus 12 times the square root of x minus 12 is just x minus 12. But the right-hand side is a little trickier. I have two terms, so I need to FOIL this problem. FOIL, remember, two terms, first, outside, inside, last. So when I multiply out my first terms, 2 times 2, so let me write this out, 2 minus the square root of x times 2 minus the square root of x. First terms gives me 4, outside term gives me minus 2 root x, inside term gives me minus 2 root x, and last term gives me negative root x times negative root x, which is positive root x squared. So since I FOILed, I'm now going to combine like terms just to kind of get this right-hand side looking a little less ugly. X minus 12 equals 4 minus 4 root x plus x. So I now have accomplished step two, raising both sides to an exponent. I can't move on to step three right now. I'm instead going to go back to step one because I still have a radical. So I'm going to now isolate this radical by bringing everything else to the other side. So I'm going to start by subtracting x from each side to get rid of this x. And actually my x's end up going away. So I now have negative 12 is equal to 4 minus 4 root x. I'm going to subtract 4. Negative 16 is equal to negative 4 root x. Divide by negative 4. 4 is equal to the square root of x. So I've now accomplished step one. Now I need to raise both sides to an exponent. In this case, to get rid of the square root, I'm going to do 2. So this becomes 16 is equal to x. So that's step three accomplished. I've now solved for my variable x. Step four, I need to go back to my original equation and check 16. So that's the square root of 16 minus 12 is equal to 2 minus the square root of 16. Again, not mixing things between sides. 16 minus 12 is 4. The square root of 4 is 2. The square root of 16 is 4. 2 minus 4 is negative 2. 2 does not equal negative 2. So 16 is not an answer. This is an extraneous solution. So for this particular problem, there is no solution. So no solution for this particular problem.